Hey YouTube, I just watched a video by Brian Kennedy or BKXC on how to find places to ride if you're not familiar with the area. A lot of his suggestions are excellent. However, he didn't mention the method that I use the most. Unfortunately, this requires you to subscribe to Strava, and so it's not free. You have to pay. Here's how I do it. I use Strava Segment Explorer, and I find somebody else's ride, and I'll show you how I do that in a second. I download it to my GPS, which is a Garmin 810, and then I use Find and follow it. Let me show you what I do. Like Brian mentioned, Trailforks is a great resource. You go to Trails, browse by map. That's how I go about finding places I want to go on vacation or places I want to go ride. What I normally do is, if you wanted to go ride in Western Massachusetts, I would zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. When you get to a certain point, you see, okay, there's one little loop in Beartown, there's something over at BB Hill, there's something at Kennedy Park, but boy, there sure looks to be a lot in the Pittsfield State Forest here. So I would kind of zoom in and say, wow, look at that trail map. And I would use Trailforks on my phone while I was riding to verify where I was. But to come up with a good route to follow, I would use Strava. And like I said, you need the Strava Premium Account. So in order to find a good ride, what I would do would be to go to Strava and go to Explore and Segment Explore. And then somehow this already has Pittsfield, Mass filled in, and do search. And it came up with some segments in different places where they are. But a lot of these will be road segments. What you really want to do is, after you have identified that you want to ride in the Pittsfield State Forest here, you want to kind of zoom in on the Pittsfield State Forest here. I am going to zoom in here, wait for some segments to load. If I keep zooming in, so I see a lot of squiggly lines, and those are usually the fun trails for mountain biking as opposed to something straight. If I click on D, it's Turner Trail Climb, 1.25 miles long, 10.7% grade, 700 feet of elevation gain. I would go look at that segment, and then what I do, go look at the leaderboards. The people who are at the top of the leaderboard are very fast people. They tend to do fairly long rides. So what I like to do is go look at what they rode. So this guy's ride was almost 16 miles in 2 hours. So that's kind of a long ride, because something that took him 2 hours might take me 4 hours. So I'm going to go down a little bit in the standings and maybe go to page 3. Here's my friend Larry. If I went to his ride, and let's go look at what he did. What appears to be a loop starting from here. You can slide along here, and so he went up the mountain, and then he went down a more gradual thing, and back to his car. So his ride was 8.5 miles, which is a little more reasonable. He did it in an hour and a half, so that might be a really good ride to do. So what I would do is I would download the GPX file for that ride by clicking on this, which you won't see unless you're a Strava Premium member. So once that file downloads, on a Mac anyway, it downloads to your download folder. And what you want to do is you want to go up here and say Edit, Copy. Then you want to go to your Garmin device, go to Garmin, the Garmin folder, and then go to the New Files folder, and then do Edit, Paste. And now that ride is on your Garmin device and will be imported as a route when you turn the device on. Now what I do is I unplug that from the computer. Then I turn on my Garmin. So when that starts up, it imports it as a route. So now I'm going to click Ride, and then I'm going to tap on the screen. It brings up the little search thing. And then I'm going to go to Courses. And here's Inaugural Ride. And then I'll say Ride. And it'll say, do you want to navigate to the beginning of the course? Which normally I would say yes. And it will show you how to get there. So I can see how to drive there. And then when you actually get to the start of the ride, it'll tell you where to go. So that showed you how to drive there. And then this is where the ride starts, and then you could follow that track and get started up the mountain to the loop that he did. And I find that works really, really well for finding places to ride and doing a nice loop. Sometimes when you go to places and you're just trying to follow a blind trail map, you won't do the best trails and have the most fun. Thanks for your videos, Brian. I really enjoy them. Thanks for watching.